I've got a lot to say, and I want to say it well and come off clearly, but I also don't want this video to be a billion minutes long, so... Welcome back to Sit Down Sunday, the day of the week where we take a break from talking about all the nerdy and geeky stuff that we love and have a more deep conversation. Today, we are talking about shaming college dropouts. I absolutely hate the term dropouts for a lot of reasons. When I used to think of the term dropout, there were a lot of words that instantly came to mind. Lazy, unambitious, stupid, misguided, unsuccessful, and honestly, worthless. And I don't think that I was in the wrong for thinking that that's what a dropout was, because that is what school, TV, movies, books, that's what everyone around me had taught me what a dropout was. And lo and behold, that is exactly how people made me feel when I dropped out of college. I have gotten a ton of questions about why I left James Madison University over the years, because my time at JMU is extremely well documented on my YouTube channel. I came up with the idea for Maddening Mondays the first semester of college in my visual aspects of theater class. You can see all of my friends, my hallmates, other people in my theater major, all in my earlier videos. They were an integral part of my YouTube channel at that time, and I loved doing the videos with them, and I think that's really obvious if you go back and watch. Mainly what I'm trying to get at here is that you can see that I was very, very happy at JMU in those videos. I was not someone who hated their school or had trouble attending classes or making friends, which made leaving the hardest thing that I've ever had to do. I left JMU after my sophomore year because point blank, I couldn't afford it anymore. I graduated high school in 2010, and that was right at the beginning of the recession where everything was changing, companies were taking big losses, there was a lot shifting, and nobody knew what the recession would really have outcome-wise. When I got into JMU and we committed to me going there, my family knew that it would be a big financial undertaking. It's not an inexpensive school if you're going from out of state, but we had no idea what effect the recession would have on us. And halfway through my sophomore year, my family sat me down and they told me that they didn't think I was going to be able to go back to JMU, that we could not afford it anymore. I was heartbroken. I mean, I was more heartbroken over that than I've ever been over anything in my whole life before. And my family felt terrible. I mean, I don't blame them at all for 1 second. This was something completely out of our control, and they clearly were just as upset about it as I was. And I'm so lucky that they were incredibly supportive in saying whatever the next step is after you leave, we will support you, whether it's you going to a new school, a community college, or pursuing the acting, going into the city and taking workshops or classes, whatever the next step was going to be, they were like, we are behind you. And if I had had that sort of kind of support from everyone else around me, I wouldn't be making this video. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. When I came home, not only did I feel awful, but the people around me made me feel like a failure because they just didn't get it. I went back to my high school serving job and basically started doing that full time, and without fail, every single day I would serve tables that would ask me about my life, and the first question that they would ask is, where do you go to school? What school do you go to? And I would explain to them that I went to JMU for 2 years and then I had come home because it was too expensive and I was pursuing acting, and every time without fail their response was something along the lines of, but you're going back to school, right? Like you're gonna go to another school. You're not honestly gonna stop going to school. And it hit me in the face that all of these people thought all the things that dropout evokes of me. That I was lazy or stupid, and it killed me every single day, like as if I wasn't already thinking about it every single day. Would you like some salt with that wound? And the problem was that at face value, they're right. I could have gone to another school. I could have gone to community college. That was within my budget. But what nobody understood was that emotionally, that just wasn't an option for me. I hadn't hated my school. I hadn't willingly left. I had to leave. There was no other option, and I had to leave friendships that I had developed so hard for 2 years, potential romantic relationships, opportunities in my major. My last semester, I finally got myself a call back for a main stage theater show that would be happening the following fall. All of those things were down the drain, and not to mention I was an out-of-state student, so most of these people were from Virginia, where the school is. That's not an easy visit. I had loved my school. I bled purple. I loved every second of it, and I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere else. I was a JMU Duke, that's what I was. And the idea of going anywhere else, of being anywhere else, it felt so wrong. It felt just totally wrong. And it was this weird time of not wanting to talk about it and then also wanting to tell everyone that, to explain these feelings to everyone. But I also didn't want anyone's pity, and I felt like that's all I was gonna get. I wanted to be strong about it and find a way to move on, but the people around me, excluding my family, made me feel worthless. That if I didn't go back to school, I was going to fall into a life that was easy and lazy and unambitious. But nobody I told this about understood, and so why keep on telling people things if nobody's gonna understand? And that's part of the reason why I never made a YouTube video addressing it, because I was afraid at the time that people would make me feel worse about it than I already did. Or way worse than that one of my friends from JMU would see the video and think that I was making it for attention, or that I wanted them to pity me, or question my motives for leaving. There were just so many things going through my mind. Like, I had had a bad breakup a semester before. I was worried that people there thought that maybe I had left because of that bad breakup. It was very public in my theater department. And to be fair, to some extent, these fears were totally valid. I remember the first time that I went back to JMU to visit friends, and I went to a birthday party of a girl that I had known in the theater department. And a couple of weeks before this visit, I had been in California visiting my aunt, because there's this thing in my family where when we kind of graduate high school, become a little bit older, it's sort of tradition that we go out to visit my aunt, and she shows us around California for the first time. So a couple weeks before this visit, I had been there. So I'm at JMU and I'm at this girl's birthday party, and halfway through the party, she very, very drunkenly comes up to me and says, "You left JMU because you didn't like it here. You don't like us. And that's okay. Just stop lying about it. Because if you couldn't actually afford it, then how could you have been in California a couple of weeks ago?" And I froze and felt horrified, embarrassed, angry, and just all of my fears had been totally valid. I felt more alone in that moment than I had ever felt since leaving the school. Luckily for me, two older guys that I had known at the party in the theater department had overheard this, and they were much more sober than she was, and were like, "That's not how money works. A vacation and college don't cost the same thing. That's not how it works." And totally had my back. And I don't tell this story to try and embarrass or shame her, because she's apologized since and I don't hold it against her. But it was those sorts of things that just made me feel utterly shitty all the time. The bottom line here is that you don't know a person's situation, and you don't know what might make them drop out of something. And by shaming these people, you have no idea what you're doing to their mental health, because I was consistently upset and sad over it. But when it comes down to it, I have been anything but lazy since dropping out of college. That's when I decided to take my YouTube channel seriously and build it into a brand. I completed the improv track and took a bunch of sketch writing classes at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater in New York City. I also had a sketch comedy group that would do the open mics every week at UCB for a while there. I worked as a social media intern for a production company, taught myself the entire Adobe Creative Cloud, as well as starting to go to conventions, and I've had steady jobs the entire time that I have been out of college, along with still auditioning and being involved with projects. I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, for God's sakes. Just because I don't have a college degree doesn't make me incapable, and it doesn't make me a failure. I know that a part of that is that what I'm going for doesn't require a degree to go out and get jobs. But even if I were pursuing accounting and I had to drop out of college, know that if that is you, as long as you believe in yourself and you stay focused, that you will figure it out. And I don't want anyone watching this video to think that I'm glorifying not going to college. If you have the opportunity to go to college, even if it is only for 2 years, go and do it. I am so thankful for everything that I learned and the experiences that I got from going to JMU for 2 years. I would not sell those memories or experiences for anything, but it's not always a given option. I'm not glad that more people are having to drop out of college these days, but I am happy that more people are talking about it and making other people feel like they're not alone and having to drop out of school because they just can't afford it. And just helping people that it's not happening to understand that it is a thing that happens to people. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Taking a year off before you go to college to save up the money isn't a bad thing. Having to leave because it is no longer an option for you is not the end of the world, and you're not the only one it's happened to. There are people out there that will understand. Claiming that you know what is right for a person or exactly why they're doing what they're doing and what that says about them is not a thing that's gonna work out for you very often. And you never know how something you are saying is going to resonate with someone. There was a time where I would have sold a kidney to go back to JMU. I didn't need anyone else making me feel any worse about it. And that is my story and feelings on shaming college dropouts. I would love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section below. Let's have a discussion about it. I apologize if this video was super long, but it was a story that I wanted to get into and a topic that I wanted to discuss thoroughly because it's obviously very, very close to my heart. If you didn't go and see the last Sit Down Sunday, go ahead and check it out. It was tackling the topic of why do I need to prove to you that I'm a nerd. If you like this video, please hit that thumbs up button and share this video with a friend. Maybe there's someone who needs it in your life. While you're at it, if you could hit that subscribe button, it would mean a lot. And if you want to find me on other social media, here is all of my information. Spoiler alert, I'm at ShutUpKristen pretty much everywhere. And otherwise, I love you lovelies, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!